All right, guys, today we're doing writing linear equations. We're going to write equations given the slope and y-intercept, a graph, a table, or 2 points. And we're going to use linear equations to solve problems. So the first part is writing equations in slope-intercept form. So one way to write a linear equation is to substitute the values of the slope and the y-intercept in y equals mx plus b. Sometimes you may need to find the y-intercept and slope from a graph, and that's what we're going to look at today. All right. So here we have this problem. It says write an equation in slope-intercept form for each line. So it gives us what the slope is, and it gives us what the y-intercept is. So the slope is 1/2, and the y-intercept is -5. Okay? So remember, we're dealing with y equals mx plus b, where m equals the slope, and b equals the y-intercept. And then we just plug in what we know. Well, we know the slope is 1/2, so we plug that in for the m, and we know the y-intercept is -5, so we plug that in for the b. Now you'll notice it'll be y equals 1/2 x plus -5. Well, we can get rid of that plus sign and just write it as y equals 1/2 x minus 5. And that would be the answer. Okay, that's the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Okay, all right. Now, in this case, on B, they give us just a graph and a line. Okay, well, with that graph, if we can find what the slope is and we can find what the y-intercept is, we can write the same equation. So let's take a look. Remember, y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So right here is where it crosses the y-axis. That's going to give us a y-intercept of 3. Now remember, to find slope is rise over run. So we go up or down over side to side, okay? And remember, if you go up, it's positive, down, it's negative, to the right, it's positive, to the left, it's negative. So we need to find another point on this line. Well, this point crosses really nicely between two axes. So we could count down 5 units, okay? So that's going to give me a -5 over, and then I would count to the right 4 units. That's a +4. So my slope is going to be -5/4, and my y-intercept is going to be 3. So then I just plug in what I know. Y equals -5/4 x plus 3. And that's the equation for the line. Okay? All right. So here we have a couple of problems. We have write an equation in slope-intercept form for each line. Well, remember, we're doing y equals mx plus b. That equals my slope. That equals my y-intercept. So I plug in what I know. Y equals -1/4 x plus -3, or simply just y equals -1/4 x minus 3. And that's my answer. Okay? On this one, it's a little bit different. We have a slope of 0. So this would be y equals 0x plus a -9. Well, 0 times anything is just 0, so we could erase that and just put y equals -9. Remember that a line with slope 0 is a horizontal line. Y equals -9 would be a horizontal line where it crosses -9 on the y-axis. Okay? All right. So you can also write an equation for a line if you know the coordinates of 2 points on the line. An equation in the form of y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where m represents the slope and x1, y1 represents a point on the line, is called point-slope form of a line. So all I need is slope and 1 point on the line, and I can write the equation. So let's take a look at that. So if it tells us that it passes through these 2 points, okay, 4, 8 and -2, 5. Remember, it's x, y, x, y. And we could say that this is x1. Let's just go x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay? And so we would do to find slope, remember that we do change of y over change of x, where y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we just plug in what we know. Well, we know that y2 is 5 minus y1, which is 8, and then we have over x2, which is negative 2, minus x1, which is 4. So that would give us negative 3 over negative 6, or a positive 1/2. So now we know m, or slope, equals 1/2. So now if we had the y-intercept, we could just plug it in, but we don't know the y-intercept, we know 2 points. So then we can use the formula y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now we can use either one of these 2 points. Doesn't matter which point we decide to use because they're both on the line. In this case, they chose to use the 4, 8. So all you have to do is plug in, for the y, you'd plug in the 8, and for the x, here we'll go up here, for the x, you'd plug in the 4. Well, that would give me y minus 8 equals 1/2 times x, 1/2 times negative 4. You have to distribute, okay? Remember, with parentheses, you have to distribute out. So that would give me y minus 8 equals 1/2 x minus 2. Then I would have to add 8 to both sides to get rid of the negative 8. The opposite operation of subtraction is addition. So negative 8 plus 8 would be 0. That just leaves me with y. And then 1/2 x plus 6. And that would be my equation. Okay? All right, here's another one. But in this case, we have a table. It says write an equation of a line in point slope form that passes through points on the shown table at the right. So we have our x's, we have our y's. So this would be just like saying 4, negative 2, 8, 1, and so forth. Okay? So we need to find our slope first. So we just need to use 2 points on that line, and we can use any 2 points we want. So we'll just use the first 2 points. Okay? And we would do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's simply, again, just the change of y's over the change of x's. So I could say x1, y1, x2, y2, just to make it easy. And it would be 1 minus a negative 2. Now remember, when you do that, keep change is going to make those positives. Okay? And then it would be 8 minus 4, so I'd have 3/4. So this is my slope, okay? 3/4. So now again, I don't know what the y-intercept is, so I can use the formula and plug in one of the points. Well, let's do something like, we know that 3/4, the denominator is 4, and it will go into 8 pretty nicely. So let's use the point 8, 1. You can use any of those you want to in there, and it will work, okay? But also there's no negatives in the 8, 1, where with the y you would have to do a minus negative 2, and for some people that kind of causes some issues. So let's just do the 8, 1 like they did. So when we do this, we would distribute, right? So we plugged in our slope, we plugged in our y and our x, and now we can distribute the 3/4 out. So I'd have y minus 1 equals 3/4 x minus, this is going to be 6. 3/4 times 8 would be 6, because 3 times 8 would be 24. 24 divided by 4 would be 6. Then I would have to do the opposite operation of a subtracting 1, so that would be adding 1 to both sides of the equal sign, and that's going to give me what I have right here. Y equals 3/4 x minus 5. And that would be my line. Okay? All right, so let's try one. It says write an equation for the line that passes through negative 4, 4 and 2, 7. So again, we could say this is x1, y1, x2, y2. The first thing we need to do is find the slope, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or simply just the change of y's over the change of x. And that would give me 7 minus 4 over 2 minus a negative 4. Well, 7 minus 4 would give me 3, and 2 minus a negative 4 is going to give me a 6. And 3/6 is going to give me 1/2. So that equals my slope, okay? Now, I can use the formula. Y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. And then plug in what I know. Let's use negative 4, 4, okay? So I'd have y minus 4 equals my slope of 1/2 times x minus a negative 4. Okay? Then that's going to give me y minus 4 equals, I got to distribute that half to the x and to the 4 over here. Now remember, we have two minus signs, so let's keep change. Now that's a positive 4. 1/2 of 4 is going to be 2. I then would add 4 to both sides of the equal sign. Now remember, it adds to the sign without the variable, because the 1/2 has an x on it, and those are unlike terms. So that gives me y equals 1/2 x plus 6. Okay? And that would be the answer to the equation. Y equals 1/2 x plus 6. And if you wanted to check, I could always plug in, let's say the other point, 2, 7, and it should work. Well, 7 is the y, 2 is the x. When I plug it in, I get 7 equals 7, so I know that is a correct equation. Okay, so just one way to kind of check it out and make sure you're correct. All right, so you can write an equation to describe the relationship between two quantities and make predictions. So this says the boiling point of water at sea level, or at altitude 0 feet, is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The boiling point decreases 1 degree Fahrenheit for every 540 feet increase in altitude. You are to estimate the boiling point for an altitude of 4,000 feet. All right, so the boiling point decreases 1% or 1 degree Fahrenheit for every 540 feet increase in altitude. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to find the slope, and if we had the y-intercept, we'd be good to go. So let's take a look. We have the change in y and the change of x, okay? So we know that the change of x is going to be a decrease of 1 degrees Fahrenheit. So that, because it tells us it's changing for every 540 feet of increase. Well, increase is positive. So there, my y is going to be degrees, and my feet is going to be my x's. So it would be negative 1 over 540. And if you divided that out, it would be approximately negative 0.002. Okay? So when x equals 0, y equals 212. So the y-intercept equals 212. Okay, so again, at x equals 0, so they tell us at 0 feet, y is 212 degrees. Okay? So the y-intercept for B would be at 212, because if you had a chart and you had 0 feet here and you have 212 degrees here, that's where it would start. Okay? All right. Or it could be up here. It doesn't matter. Okay? But what they're saying is at 0 feet. Okay. So we write an equation. We know what the slope is now, and we know what the y-intercept is. So we just plug those in. And then it says finding the boiling point at 4,000 feet. Well, we plug 4,000 in for the x, and we solve. And you could leave that as a fraction or a decimal as a slope. You're going to get the same answer, and that's going to give you 204. So an altitude of 4,000 feet, the boiling point of water is about 204 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at one for ourselves. It says a video game website charges a registration fee plus a monthly fee. After 2 months, the total fee is $34.90. After 6 months, the total fee is $74.70. What would be the total fee for 10 months? Well, let's take a look. If we take a look at this, we know that the total fee, or the fee, is dependent upon the number of months. 2 months is 34, 6 months it's 74.70. Okay, so we know that our x's are the months and our y's is the fees. Okay, so we could say 2, 34.90, and we could say 6, 74.70. So that's 2 points on the line, right? Now the first thing that we could do is we could find a slope by the change in y's over the change of x. So that would give us the change of y's would be $74.70 minus $34.90 over 6 minus 2. Okay? Well, that would give us 39.80 over 4. Okay, then that would give me 9.95. So then I could plug it in. Let's change colors, keep things organized here. We have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we could say, let's go y minus, excuse me, 74.70 equals my slope of 9.95 times x minus 6. Okay, we'll just use that point. You can use either point you want. That would be y minus 74.70 equals 9.95x plus 3.95. And we're going to add 74.70 to both sides. And we're going to end up with I made an error. This would not be right. It would be 9 times negative 6, or 9.95 times negative 6. And that would give me 59.7. And it would be negative. I initially just subtracted, but you need to multiply. Okay? All right. And that's going to give me y equals 9.95x plus 15. Then all I simply have to do, let's change color again, is plug in 10 to solve it. So y equals 9.95 times 10 plus 15 is going to give me y equals 99.5 plus 15, y equals 114.5. And so after 10 months, it would be $114.50. Okay? All right. So lastly, I just included this to help you out. It says from slope and y-intercept, you can substitute the slope m and y-intercept b and y equals mx plus b. That's all you have to do to write a linear equation. From a graph, you find the y-intercept, the b, of the slope m from the graph. You can substitute slope and y-intercept and y equals mx plus b. That's all you have to do. From 2 points, you're going to use the coordinates of 2 points to find the slope. Remember, change of y over change of x. And then you're going to substitute the slope and one of the points in the coordinates into the equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And then from a table, you're going to use the coordinates of any 2 points to find the slope. And then you're going to substitute again the slope in one of the pairs of coordinates into y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so just a little chart to kind of help you figure it out. If you got questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great day.